and gentlemen, and before I get started, I just want to take a moment and I would just like all of us to give a round of applause to the Walker family, the Vallejo family. It's a little bit ironic that I'm standing in front of you today because I've known Danny for about 16 years, which is over half of my life. Now, during that time, it became clear that we were best friends for life, and he was going to be my best man. I think we decided that, 7th grade maybe? So, what he would do is, I ended up getting married first, and what he would do is, he would say, oh man, I've been writing your best man speech for years, it's going to be so great, oh my gosh. And he would always remind me of this when I had done something particularly stupid or embarrassing, and he'd be like, oh, that's totally going in the speech, man. So I went in there kind of thinking like, oh man, how's this going to be? And at the very least I thought, well, 16 years worth of writing it, probably pretty good. And it was. The problem was, about 95% of it was a gross exaggeration. And so I think the ironic part is, he actually let me, after that performance, come and speak here. So before I get going, I just want to say one thing to Danny. Paybacks, man. I'm only going to take about a couple hours of your time, so get your popcorn ready. I'm going to start at the beginning. I met Danny in 6th grade at Horace Mann Middle School. And I think this was an interesting time for me to meet my best friend because I think that we were probably at our all-time worst in terms of style, maturity. We didn't look very good. There was nowhere to go but up. Let me paint you a picture of how I remember Danny when I first met him. He's got built-in hell, he doesn't need anything else. A pair of shoulder pads, he's good to go. So I wasn't much better, so that's how I met him. And, the thing that I learned very quickly about Danny is that he and I are the same in so many ways. We like the same football team, go Broncos. Like the same music, we both like girls. I mean, there's a number of things we have. Only one girl now. Only one girl, me too. Me too. So there's a number of things that's very similar, that we have a lot of similarities together. There's a lot of things about us also that are very different. I am not what you would call a risk taker or an adventurous person, and Danny definitely is. He would come up with these horrible ideas of things we should do, mischievous, borderline illegal things to do. That's borderline. And he would talk, he'd be like, oh man, this is the best idea ever, we should go do this, it's gonna be hilarious, and no one's ever gonna know about it. And I'd look at him and I'd, get this shot of anxiety and say, no man, no. What if my parents find out what's going to, and if you can imagine, that argument was never very convincing. So I got dragged along a lot of adventures with this guy. But we had a lot of fun together. And I got an ulcer from some of the fun we had still. But we went to high school together after middle school, and I think there's a couple things you notice about high school when you first get there. The first is like, dude, this building's huge. And the next one is, these kids are huge. And the third thing is, these girls are cute. And I know we had our eyes out on the opposite sex the entire time we were there, and I remember I noticed that he started hanging out with this really cute blonde, and they had a locker kind of down the hallway from mine, and they would just sit down there and they would flirt and giggle and poke and laugh, and they looked like a bunch of love-crazed squirrels over there, just chittering. So I know Laura, she grew up one street away from me, and said, so, what's going on, man? And he said, well, what do you mean? Well, I mean, are you guys like, And he said, well, she's Laura, man. She's Laura. As if that explained anything to me. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? He said, well, she's super fun. She's like the funniest girl I know. Really good looking, and we just have a lot of fun together. And I'm kind of like, and so you're dating? Why not? And he didn't have a good answer for me. And when I kind of approached her about the same thing, she was like, oh yeah, he's Danny. And I just couldn't, it blew my mind. They were a perfect match for each other in high school, and for some reason they just decided to be best friends instead. And, here we are today, many years past high school, and I won't take up your time going through all those years individually, but there's a few moments that stick out to me that I really got to be part of there for their very first kiss. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And I was there when Danny decided that he wanted to live in Seattle instead of Colorado, and just kind of hang out and have a good time. He came and was hanging out with Laura, and they were kind of getting to that point where it was going beyond just normal friendship. They were starting to kind of catch this attraction. And I remember this one particular time, the summer before my senior year. I'm walking down the street with Laura, and she's talking to me. She's trying to sort all this out in her head because they've been friends for so long. Should they take a shot at this? And for the first time that I'm aware of, she verbalized, "I just love him, Joey, I just love him." And a couple of things went through my head at that moment. The first one was just like, wow. After all this time, like, wow. And the second one was, told you so. Like, I knew it from the start. Maybe I'm just smarter than you, so I don't know. I can see it developing from the very beginning. And I got to be a part of their relationship while they were in Seattle. I was there when they went their separate ways for a time, and I was there after 2 years of really not talking and having any contact. They got together one night, and I remember sitting and kind of watching them 2 tables away, and it was like nothing had ever changed since high school. The love was just so pure, and whether or not they were ready to really take that on at the time, their chemistry was never gone. And I was there when they were trying to figure out how they were going to possibly do a long-distance relationship with her in Seattle, him in Colorado. I was... Pasadena, that's right, California, where? Pasadena. I was there when she moved down to Pasadena to take their relationship to the next level. I was there and watched him scrape together any cash he could to buy her the best ring he possibly could. And I was there when he was talking about how he wanted to ask this girl to marry him, how he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her, and he couldn't imagine life without her. And I'm here tonight, and we're getting to watch the culmination of a relationship that's gone across 3 states for 14 years. That's one heck of a love story, okay? And I suppose if there's ever an opportunity to say this, I'm trying not to cry. I suppose if there's ever an opportunity to try and verbalize what Danny has meant to me over the years, there are no words, but I can say I love you.
Proud of you, son.
And I can't imagine how anyone could have a better best friend. And I know a lot of people say that, but I don't think you understand how amazing this guy is. How he stuck through me through the best times of my life, the worst times of my life. And he's made me into such a better person. I look up to him like he doesn't even know how much I look up to him.
He is taller.
He is so much taller than me. And better looking, I'm gonna say that too. I'll fucking admit that. I'm so thankful for your friendship, man. And I'm so thankful to be here tonight to celebrate tonight with you. And I'm planning on being there for anniversary number 65.
Yeah.